Okay, Master Mason, nope, not sure quite how much time I got, so we'll play it out tonight. I want to double up on Old Angry Chorus here, do a reaction video or whatever. My middle one was good, it come off first, and I'm glad his come off that way because I've been using him a lot on the ascent, if you will, to the human possession you gotta do. You gotta take control of yourself, partner. Honey, whoever. And I love the way he brought out the Brovat and Sharps, and I play that game. It's not really manic if you apply a good physics like that. It's like, hey, letting off discharge 12. That's the tread rock on the thing. It's jamming up the line. You didn't watch it on the turns. You knew that number by training from this date on calculus when that first incident happened on the Mobius strip here. Straight line between those wave points on those little loopy air current tube. Whatever. What? I'll zero it out. I'll make a superconductor out of you yet. Don't worry. All kinds of resistance. Friction. Yeah, electron avalanche gonna be buried. So anyway, yeah, well, I'll dust it off. Say some of that for later. In here, I'm trying to build the militia. Salty's doing militia. And I don't look at him. I have my own. It's important to do that. It's good to have G. It's good to have G. I feel you need to be careful about that. I'll tell you, look, back up out of my house. I'll give you an elbow. In here, a lot of entropy, quantum operation in terms of the standard of where you live in on the trip point can determine causal numbers of physics. What element that's standard play? Number one, hydrogen. Then it turns into helium, and then it turns into oxygen, carbon, or iron, carbon. Whatever's going on in there. The sun's your best friend until that thing kicks off a couple of hydrogens it's chewing together across a bunch of the area, and it kicks off a magnetic storm that's pretty much just like, all right. And you get an entropy off the other side of that surviving. Working the crank. No cell phones. Time dilation is the hard way with chains connected to stuff. That militia in the work game, it's cool because, it's tight. You have a very short period of time in the orders in which that thing will snap down and steal your fingers, and you quit. You don't have the ability to count to 10 no more that way. You'll still be able to imagine it hard enough. It's +1. You're fine. N +1. I say that jokingly, but it does. It happens fast. And, in order for that to sink, it's E7 is that corner of the bed to me. When I look at that, I'm looking, because I see that number in that corner of the bed before the AR-50, and I told you it was coming. They're going to close off the lights, lock doors, explode this entire room with one AR-15 and make you all put it together. Time is the test. Think it goes bang, bang? Let me hear it. That's the test, right? If that quantifies you as a group, as a standard, Jordan Patterson saying together as a group, you have a shared IQ 120 as a shared model because you pick up on the rabbit. You pick up on what the guess is on most of the standards of what the question is based on what noise this thing right here in front of you is doing in the measurement of the quantum operator there. Oh, it's up, what's down, what standard model. You have parallel effects on what you're trying to do with it and how you're trying to operate it and what magnetic fields are adjusting tones of this singular flaming chainsaw dragon is pulling everything along here. And of course, radiants are day-night cycles, and Mars don't have, whatever planet, what rotation didn't do, the moon does or doesn't, so affects the mantle, its weight, its shift out, and you got Hubble's redshift problems, and it's, could be lensing, it could be graphing error calculations between Planck, that shortest distance, the first blinking neutron star, and this one over here to triangulate that number. Pretty easy, but drill sergeant knows night navigation, day navigation aren't the same thing. especially when kids are hammered and you're under pressure and, everybody in the mill. I mean, it's hard to say. You get up there, Nancy Pelosi, no offense on this one. I just want to bring out some standard physics. It's a 40-year thing since like 1987. That's when I was born. And you got a few friends up here. And that's hard to bring in applied salty to the category of just chew on your ass for any time you're not, picking your nose or anything because you're on G's time. That's same number as a private or something. And then I'm going to be dropped right in the Sharp's house. I'll get you both in the box, make you both go live action on Facebook forever. As long as it's between this number and this number, really doesn't matter what happened. It's how you fielded it. Whatever information. This is the group of guys, right? Nuclear bomb, Goomba, Bowser out there, right? We got a cheeseburger. Blank's Cheeseburger. Chaos Factory, man. You walk in there like this with guys revere, and hopefully they do watch the video. I don't necessarily ask. I try to get Rich to get me in there and do the whiteboards. I tried Paul, Pete, who, I've been knocking. Delhi, Como. Oh, you go in, like I said, it's Russian winter across the board. I don't care if you're an Australian. It's, did you factor it? It's gonna happen. That is not something you want to play with. It is just a force to be reckoned with in the acoustic baryonic harmonics, whether you like the demonic or angelic possession of what shitstorm about come through. Because Salt Crew, Guy Town, food, gas for the house in the winter, clothes, pretty basic shit. If that's not tied off for dark matter energy calculations, it's not all computers. It's getting that region for the entropy of what you're defining. Different graphs and STEM testing determine what that is, and then people in this, they're not necessarily. You have free will to say it's something else out there, and I mean the world has worked up to this point, but you gotta understand, like, you get the little areas, the school districts for cities, and that's kind of the limit. That's what a school could do to the parents, and there might be some free-ranging rabbits out there, stags, and human nature. The rest of the damn animals in the zoo. Dragons, I tell you. You put a cobra in a box, and you put it on YouTube, and Kevin the Cobra t-shirts for stock. Salty there talking about the shaving, the coffee for the army crew. Look, it's not just that. Some of you really do get it, and you could honestly break the systems back if you did it. Some storage war walk in here with a whole fucking bankroll, and it kind of defines what kind of person and civilization you're about to bring down and who you are, and if you don't have a fucking play for that. Like G money, like obviously this has to sustain that system, and immediately the second you did that, you crossed the gates. Calculus said, look, there's a physics with the mob and the NAFTA and the calculus of the charm and the fucking fire, how long it burns with the potassium and water, and for the molar ratio, how much you fucked up. So, I try to pull that in the mill. When I go home, I look at the numbers and how I've been playing, and I go, fuck it. For what it's worth, dude, I should be able to have a maid, pay her a decent salary, take care of the parents, do the thing. I put in a lot of work, I put in a lot of time and effort, but it's hard because it's not necessarily the bottom line in the stone mill. Not necessarily the bottom line for what a lot of people say, because I'd imagine I'd have heard something. Somebody gave me a comment by now. Just a few thoughts I have out here tonight about physics. That mouse fart, right? In the mill, generally a couple guys know. I know operations. Like, I'd look at that and I'd tell you, don't flip that. I look at that one rock that was right there, all sweet and perfect, ready for it. First rock was good. It had one on the end, and maybe, yeah, you need to flip that. Stock. Fundamental failure behavior, you failed 87. And the mass gap makes that. Military, anything, whether it can be combative, you draw that out, and there's the math problem, M1, M2, from here, cross collar choke, from here, reverse, crash takedown, you can get into, leg sweeps, you can get into shoots, you could get into shoots and ladders, and all kinds of games you can play with it, yeah. And obviously in the room, you're going to try to figure that out, and it's going to have some distorted, time warped, from your perspective, and my perspective, and the sheep's perspective. Sometimes it's less sheep, and a couple of wolves, and a lion, and a damn dragon. And hopefully Tesla steps in. You go look at the play. Look at the play. Yeah, Putin, China, whoever, Kurt, Rich, the boys in the stone mill, right down to the ground to George Skull. Hey, you got to put in the vote too, buddy. Here's your pet in the pound. Either you did or you didn't, because it was easy. It was set up. You didn't give a fuck. Didn't build the engineering for it. Too busy. Too lazy. Too something inside of there. And I'm dead. I'm minding my balls off out here. I'm not to say I can't do that. It's something about writing I have to be careful with. Me personally, I'm just motivated. It's a little hot for everybody when I do it, how I do it. I like to take a few things down, give it that multiple matrix triangulation. It's an art. It's a little bit of a how you put that together. And N1, that's the number, and in your hand on the mill 4, 2, 3, 4, 5 when you're trying to train them something. Go home, watch that video on hypervigilance, right? Go home right now, anger management, or what acoustic flutter is and how I want you to do it, or I'm going to piggyback off of that one you watched, because that's N1. And this is, either a category of the quantum tunneling, multiversing, Lorenzo, parallaxing atmosphere that every graph and calculation shows the same physics in different numbers, quantumly adjust to like fields of the weak force of its electron being in this position on an offset angle to these right-hand rule main gravities that you have, would determine its anti-proton position straight out in the Hadron Collider, not necessarily, or where that effect should be or why it affects that way or some crazy shit like that. I don't know. In the mill floor, it pops up pretty much in physics about that number and a lot. And I think when you knock out some numbers, so you bury that. It's a box. X, Y, and Z at the top. N, E, 1, 2, 3. Why? Because it's at the back end. 97. 26, 26 on a code for transpositions with an A number out front. M1 and M2. Those are M1 and M2. 26 and 97% of the universe. Space-time put together. That's code. That's one of the hardest ones you will ever see, and it's the sneakiest, gnarliest rabbit. And when it pops up, everything goes sharps and everything goes salty. Morning Star. You got the Reaper room. Just feel Kelvin drop. It's fucked up. It's little love just for you. A little bit of greatness coming your way. That's why I got pushed, right? That one. You're right. 100% fucking around. Didn't do a 3-round burst, man. Fucking bang. That's the bullet. Get in the game. Come on. General. Me and you at the pond with the hillbilly spinner. Let's get it. Come on. Let's do it. Pawnee 4, Pawnee 7. We'll see how it starts. Catch you on the next one.